Hey everyone, the Collector 27 here, coming at you guys with another awesome action figure review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Marvel Legends Retro Collection Silver Samurai. Let's take a look. Alright, so once again, before we get started, huge shout out and thank you to my buddy Leo. He actually sent this figure over my way. I never got around to picking him up or seeing him at retail. I think the only time I saw him was at a Target, and his arm was actually broken in package. Oh, there you go. Let the camera focus. But huge shout out and thank you to my buddy Leo. Thank you very much, bro. I love this figure. All right, let's get into the review. For accessories, Silver Samurai comes with these two swords, these two katanas, and these are the new Marvel Legend ones. These are not the old ones that we've seen multiple times in the past. These look really good. I like the new mold on them. One thing I actually just noticed is that these two are actually different sizes, that this one is shorter and this one is slightly longer, which is kind of neat and I guess accurate to both the comics and um, history, I guess, with samurais, where they would have one larger katana blade and one smaller one. Forgive me for not knowing the name of the smaller blade. I don't know what it's called, but I think that's pretty neat. The sculpt is really nice. It looks really good. You can see that it has this kind of like diamond pattern to it, which looks really good. However, I will say that, especially on this smaller katana, I've noticed a bit of paint rub from the figure. When you put it into his hand, it is a bit of a tight grip, so it will chip off some of the paint right there and reveal the gray plastic underneath. But other than that, these are the only accessories he comes with, which is fitting for the character, and I think that's pretty cool. So let's get into the articulation and the aesthetics of this guy. Alright, well, I must say that the paint on this guy came out on mine very, very clean. The red for his chest armor right here is very, very clean. I haven't seen any bleeding at all into the rest of the figure. It's very good. The line work is good. I like how they added the detail of like the ropes up here to tie like the armor pieces of, if it was a separate piece. They even added that detail to the side right here. Not sure if you can really see if the camera will focus. There you go. Right here, it is a different color from the rest. It does look like it's white or like silver right now, but on camera. But in person, it is this kind of cream color to be, I guess, like the color of the rope. And they did that on both sides, and it looks really, really good. The armor on his chest, his forearms, and even on his shins right here are really, really nice silver color, which is fitting for the character considering he is called Silver Samurai. Including his headpiece, that is all in a nice silver paint, similar to what we got for Colossus in the Marvel Legends 80th Years 2-pack with Juggernaut. However, I do wish they would have done this paint job throughout the rest of the figure, also maybe on the armor right here, where this right here is actually just like a plastic. It is very shiny, but I wish they would have done a little bit more something like this, because to me, in my opinion, this looks a little bit more metallic-y, I guess you could say, more like metal, and rather than this, where this is a little bit more, has a little bit of marbling going on. I'm not sure if you could see that on camera. Yeah, right there. It has some marbling going on where you could tell that was just the mold of the plastic. Other than that, he is very, very aesthetically pleasing, sitting on the shelf. I think I mentioned this in my Star Wars action figure review of Captain Phasma, that I like when figures have kind of like a really interesting color scheme where they're like all silver like this. So that's why I like this character along with Colossus, and I think he really stands out on the shelf. So I really like that. I might as well mention this now before I forget, but there is weapon storage right here. On his belt, it has like this sash where the katanas can go into either one. I don't think it matters which one you put it into, but this is the smaller katana. I put this one on the top because I feel like that's where that one fits most, because they do have a slight different size. You can't really tell in person. Oh, there we go. It has a slight different size compared, to the top and the bottom. But I like to put the larger katana at the bottom, and it fits really well, and it looks really cool too. So he does have weapon storage, so that's pretty neat, and I like the idea of that. It looks pretty good. Like I said, the aesthetics, 10 out of 10 for aesthetics. It looks really good. So let's get into the articulation. Okay, Silver Samurai actually has some pretty decent articulation. for being kind of a bulkier character with all this armor going on, and it works exactly for what he's supposed to do. So at the head, I think this is where the articulation, from what I've found and kind of messed around a bit, is that his head does go side to side. It is on a ball and disc hinge, but that hinge is kind of limited due to the fact that he has this back of his helmet that gets in the way. So that does not allow him to look up at all. To look down, not so much. So there's not much articulation with the head other than the side to side motion and a little bit of head pivot. That's about it. The shoulders will go out only that much. They don't go out very much, again, because of the shoulder pads. This armor gets in the way of it moving up anymore. I actually don't know if you were to lift these up a little bit more. It actually doesn't go up much more if you lift up the shoulder pads a bit. It's the joint is limiting itself. So there's not much articulation in the shoulder. He does have a bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, which do go in more than 90 degrees, and it works. It looks good. For his wrist, he has the roll of the dice motion. Let's see if I could zoom in on that, which is fitting considering that he is a sword wielding character. So I feel if the character wields swords or blades or anything of that sort, or guns, they should have a roll the dice motion rather than just up and down. So I do appreciate Hasbro for doing that. It is the same on both sides, where it is the roll the dice motion, so up and down movement. He does have this type of diaphragm joint where it's not really like an ab crunch or anything like that. It is more on a ball joint, and it swivels, goes around, which it works really good. He can crunch back that much, which is pretty good. He goes down pretty far, and that looks really nice. His legs move up only that much, which is actually pretty good considering that he does have this flap and the side panels as well. He does have double jointed double jointed knees, and he also does have a thigh cut, which works pretty good. There is a bit of a calf swivel as well, so that's pretty nice. Anytime there's added articulation, his ankles will go down that much. They'll go up that much, not very much on the up motion, but he does have some really, really good ankle pivot. So one thing that I will say that I found interesting that was out of package as soon as I took him out, and I don't know, I've seen a lot of issues with the vintage collection figures where they come in the retro collection, whatever you want to call them, where they come in the card packaging, kind of like how they did back in the 90s and when they were in those retro cards. So one thing I found that was interesting is that I've always seen some of the figures messed up in those lines. I don't know if they always have QC issues, but my Silver Samurai, when I got him out of package, see these little type of like knob design are supposed to be in front. Well, this one was switched all the way around, and the foot had been rotated where the leg was backwards. So I can't even do it on camera. Let's see, can I? Yeah, where I got out of package and it was like this. It was backwards, so I had to heat it up a bit just because it was a lot more stiff at first, and this part didn't want to move. It felt like it was glued in, but I had to swivel it all the way around, heat it up, and then bring it around. So I thought that was pretty funny that even in package it had some QC issues, but now that's fixed, it looks good. Okay, so for some size comparisons, here we have him next to his buddy. No, I'm just kidding. This is his enemy. They fight all the time. Wolverine and Tiger Stripe. This is from the Love Triangle 3-pack, with the upgrade Metal Claws from Can of Beams. These are the first version of the Metal Claws, by the way. I should have the third version of the Metal Claws coming in soon, sometime this week. So stay tuned for a review on that. Here he is next to the there we go, the X-Force Wolverine with the new Marvel Legends claws, which look good. And yes, if you guessed it, the upgrade claws are going to be for this Wolverine, so that way he can have metal claws as well. These don't look bad, but I just like metal claws better. Anyway, so I think the height difference is really good. If we bring back the Tiger Stripe Wolverine, these two Wolverines are the exact same height, so it works. Oh, there goes Wolverine, and there goes my other one off screen. All the Wolverines are falling. No, but I think the height difference here is really good. Wolverine is supposed to be a short character. He's kind of short, a little stocky. Let's see if he'll stand up. There we go. So I think these two scale in very, very well if you have them next to each other. If you wanted to get some pictures for ACBA or whatever you want to do there, I think it just scales in very, very well. He fits in with the Marvel Legends well, and I think you could get some really good pictures going on between these two or any Wolverine figures that you have. All right. Well, my overall thoughts on this figure is I give him a solid 8.5 out of 10. I took away some of those points just because I do wish that he had some more in the accessories department. Just coming with two katanas is kind of weak. I mean, I'm not really sure what else he could have come with. Maybe some sort of effect that looks like he's like slashing or like using his katana rather than just sitting there. I'm not sure. I mean, I think they could have done that, especially with it being a retro slash vintage card figure where it's supposed to look like the original figure that came out or the original toy where it had like all these little gimmicks and stuff. I think they could have given some effects. I wasn't too happy with how the articulation in the head is. I do think it looks really good, but this helmet part is actually really, really hard and limits the articulation of him looking up and down and side to side. And so when you do get him looking to the side, he's looking at an angle, kind of like this. And so it looks a little strange. I mean, it works, but maybe if they would have used a material like this for the helmet, a little bit more rubbery or like a kind of like a softer plastic that would allow for more movement. But other than that, I think he looks really, really good. I've seen some customizers where they'll paint the entire figure this really, really cool chrome silver looking color. I don't think I'm going to do that to mine, but it looked really good when other people have done it, and I think it looks pretty fun to do. However, I do really like this figure still. I think it's a must-have for any X-Men fan, any Wolverine fan out there. If you're looking for just another villain to put on your X-Men shelf, I just think he looks really good just because he stands out. Kind of like how I've mentioned before in other reviews, and even with Colossus, they're both silver characters, or they both have this really, really shiny, metallic look to them, and so I think that it looks really neat and will definitely stand out on your shelf. So I give, again, a solid 8.5 out of 10. I feel like it is a must get. I just felt bad taking him out of package just because I love the way the retro packaging looks at, when Hasbro made them and they have them for that, but they are not collector friendly. So you kind of have to, you do that trick where you use an X-Acto knife to take it out and cut a little slit at the bottom to slide out the box, which works so that way you preserve the packaging. But I would like to also get one to keep in package just because I love when Hasbro does that kind of retro look. But again, just like all my other reviews, this is my opinion. This is all opinionated. This is just what I think. If you have a different opinion, if you hate this figure, or if you love it even more, if you think it's perfect just the way it is, let me know down in the comments below. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you give me a follow on Instagram and subscribe to my YouTube channel as well while you're here. Same name, The Collector 27. I'll probably put in the link of this video. If you're watching this on Instagram, go over, subscribe to my YouTube. We're getting new followers every day. We're getting more views. And let's just talk about figures in the comments. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk about some figs. Do you guys have this figure? If you do, what are your thoughts? Have you guys done the custom paint job where he's all silver now? Did you put more chrome on him? Just let me know. Let's talk down in the comments below. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much again to my buddy Leo for sending this my way. I really like this figure. I'm really trying to grow my X-Men collection and my X-Men shelf, and so it's getting there slowly but surely. Still have a lot of figures to go, a lot more X-Men figures to collect. But thank you very much, Leo. And thank you to all my subscribers and followers on Instagram and YouTube. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.